So if you're new to the stock market, you might ask, what stocks do I start with? How can I figure out what's good and what's bad? There's so many of them. How do I sort this out? It's not as complicated as you think. There are some basic indicators and signs we can use, as well as examining what the company is doing in the market and its relationships with its partners and clients. We can dig in and look at good and bad stocks and which ones you might want and which ones you might want to stay away from. Today, let's check out AMD. First, please attack that like and subscribe button. Attack it like a vicious beast. Please, I'm just starting this channel out and I really need all the help I can get. Come on guys, this is good value here. Just smash the like and subscribe. Just do it. So, should you buy AMD? Should you buy AMD? Well, AMD, or Advanced Micro Devices, has been making chips and semiconductors since like 1969, i.e. computer nerd stuff. Now, they're a long-term company with a long-term vision. Yahoo Finance is a great place to look at stocks just because everyone has access to it and has a lot of information right at your fingertips. If I show you something inside Schwab or E-Trade and you're like, well, I have Robinhood, then you might be like, where do I find that in my interface? So I usually just use Yahoo just to take a look at things. If we look at the 5-year chart, which is a good indicator of sentiment, and if the stock is good, in quotes, we see a pretty steady, solid upward ride to $103. Now, it's off its all-time high of about 118. So though this stock is fairly high, it still has a long way to run up. This by no means is an expensive stock compared to other semiconductor components like NVIDIA, NVDA at $208, which I hold, or even Applied Materials, AMAT at $129, which I used to write covered calls on. Now, if you don't know what a covered call is, it's a great source of passive income that is really easy to do, and anyone can easily get this income if you have 100 shares of a stock. So again, though the stock is somewhat high, it's still a bargain. We have that retracement that should come back up to at least 118 because strong stocks always retrace to their highs, but this stock should have a lot further to run up from there. So, is it strong? Well, let's check the earnings. Here we can see that looking at total or top line revenue, things are looking really, really good here. 5 billion, 6 billion, 7 billion, 10 billion. We have consistently increasing top line revenue over a 3 to 4 year period. And this is a really good indicator that Wall Street and the big fish, the endowments, the hedge funds, the institutions, insurance companies, banks, equity funds, universities, the large scale trading desks will trust this stock and hang on to it. Now, that's not to say they won't dump it from time to time and take profits, the whales, as they're called, because it doesn't have a dividend. So it will be more susceptible to volatility. Volatility, in case you don't know, means the quick fluctuations up and down of a stock price or of the entire market going up and down. We've seen that recently a lot through world events the past couple of years. Dividends, if you're not aware, are money that are paid to the shareholders, i.e. if you buy the stock on a specific date, the company pays you a percentage of the stock just from its own revenue and sales, just as a reward for owning their shares. Now, if you have a lot of shares, this can add up to a lot of money. Some people make their entire living just collecting dividends. It takes a lot of stocks and it takes time to collect all those shares, however. So now let's look at the market for AMD and its products and also consider who runs this battleship. So their graphics cards and their CPUs are ever popular, and we've probably all used them in our computers, whether like some big nerd who builds his own super systems in his mom's basement, or whether we're just a normal person who's just I want Netflix to run smoothly. We've all used their components in our computers, whether we know it or not. So now we have Lisa Su. Lisa Su is the new CEO of AMD since 2014, and she appears to have a really great vision and be doing very well with the company. I mean, the stock is 25x'd since she got there, so I'd say that's a great job. She moved the company towards selling to bigger industrial clientele, example A being Amazon Cloud Services. So if your biggest customer is Amazon, you're probably doing okay. And if your next biggest customer is Microsoft, yeah, you get the idea. They're playing in the big leagues here. Customers like this really should keep their revenues solid. Now, there is a chip shortage that is suspected to continue until 2022, but Su has said that the pandemic has also bolstered demand, saying the pandemic has taken demand to a new level. With every industry seeking more components, nobody expected this much demand. Now, if you think about it, semiconductors and microchips, they're like the new form of transportation. Nowadays, we need to move data just like in the old days we needed to move ourselves. We used to take a train to a meeting, now we take a Zoom call to a meeting, and we need those microchips and those semis to get us there. This is the new locomotive, the new train system, and it's a really solid infrastructure to everything we do in modern life, and it ain't going anywhere soon, maybe until teletransportation technology becomes mainstream. Or has it been invented? I don't know. So the 3-month outlook is pretty flat, which is actually good for trading as long as it's not dropping. In the 5-year view, we can see that institutions really started to favor the stock in 2018 to 2019. So let's look at those covered calls again. Now, I write covered calls on AMD, and the premiums, that is the money paid to you, are really good. If you don't understand covered calls yet, just bear with me. I can explain that soon, but let's have a look. So, looking, for example, at an expiration date of October 22, we see a premium of about $4.22. At the $104 strike price. You can think of the strike price as the agreed upon sale price. So that means if you wrote a covered call that expired on this date with your AMD shares, you'd get paid $400 immediately. That's cash you get to keep forever. Then you have to wait until October 22 to see what happens to your shares. Either they get sold to the person who bought your call, or you keep them. By the way, you never meet that person or find out who they are. It's just a click on a screen. Either way, this is okay because you can do the whole process over again. If the shares do get sold, they get sold at the agreed upon price, so there's no risk in this trade. You just buy them back and write another covered call. So the profit is $420 plus any sale of the stock if it gets sold. You just make sure that your strike price that you choose when you sell the call is higher than what you paid for the stock, and you're safe. Otherwise, you would lose money on the sale, which can be fine as long as the premium you're paid for the contract covers that. Now, if that sounded very confusing, it's actually not. Don't stress about it now. I can do a lesson showing this process very specifically. Don't get caught up in that if you don't understand. Just grab the idea that there's money to be made in this stock every single month, and not just from holding it and waiting for it to rise, but from selling contracts on it. And relax, they're not like real estate contracts with lawyers and stress. It's just the press of a button and instant money. So, all in all, AMD looks like a deal and a strong buy in my opinion. There is consistently increasing revenue. There is a good 5-year chart. They have a killer business and market penetration and really great positioning in the industry. Now remember, if you're going to be trading a stock, you want something that has an overall upward trend but can sit in a range for a while. If it runs up too fast, you can lose your trading range and it becomes a better long-term hold, which AMD will probably become eventually. In that case, I always like to buy some extra shares and hold them on the side outside of the lot that I am trading, so in case my shares get sold and run up, I have some long-term shares that I keep for the rising gains. AMD looks like it has plenty of room for more growth. It has proven itself through revenues, great client deals, and big investor involvement. I think there's lots of room for AMD to rise in the future, and it's a great stock for covered call writing with big juicy paydays on the premiums. Don't forget to hit those big juicy like and subscribe buttons, which will encourage me to make more of these videos to help us all out in getting richer and richer. And if you like, you can grab yourself $10 in free Bitcoin and a stock worth up to $200 if you sign up in the links below. Let me know in the comments what you think about AMD and what other stocks or wealth ideas that you'd like me to discuss. Okay, have a rich day.